Do those office jobs where people do almost nothing actually exist? I'm a receptionist and 95% of my time is playing games on the computer to look busy. Unless admin gives me some project. I will not move to a smaller cubicle. They have already moved me many times. And they better not take away my swing line. I mean, kinda sometimes. There are a variety of jobs where you could have days like that. Usually support staff like IT, office manager, front desk, print staff, etc. etc. Jobs where your job is basically to help other people do their jobs. So an IT guy might get to tickets in the morning, get them fixed, and then sit there for another 4 hours until the next ticket comes in. Sure, he might not have been actively working those 4 hours, but he was there on call ready to help when someone needed it. Some jobs like that do exist. The employer has decided it's worth it to hire in extra hands, just in case, or they hire a person. The business model shifts, and that person gets a far lesser workload and gets forgotten about. In my experience, these jobs develop. They don't start out that way from day one. It's something that happens. If it does happen to you, be prepared. Have a list prepared mentally of things that you do in case anyone asks. Get a clipboard and occasionally walk around the office building holding it. Don't stroll. Walk with purpose and intent. No one may know what you do, or care as long as they don't suspect that you are doing very little. This bird nest on the ground may last a year, or a career, but it's best to keep your mouth shut about it lest someone correct the situation. I've got tips for days on this scenario. I may have sorta fallen into a position like this. It mostly comprises of pulling data from various sources to present for a morning brief, creating and archiving safety documents, and the occasional administrative task, if required. I figured out a way to have my daily tasks completed an hour into my shift, leaving me with the rest of the shift to do as I please. Because I don't necessarily answer to anyone, I am free to go about my day as I please. I often go for long walks around the site, just throw on a high vis and take my clipboard and tada, I'm working. My day mostly consists of Reddit, social media, YouTube, eBay, Amazon, and dabbling into things that intrigue me. Even fell asleep a couple of times at the desk. Lol. It's boring, and I never thought I would be able to do it, as I always had and preferred fast-paced, high-stress jobs before this. But now, I ain't giving this up. I am loving the easy life. Edit. No one on my department knows how to use the software I use for my job, or perform any other task associated with it. This allows me to have a certain leverage, as you might expect. 50% of corporate jobs basically. The trick is to look busy and talk a lot without meaning. Yes, but they usually don't start that way. What happens is the company reorganizes or shifts duties or procedures, and some valued but not exceptional employees get lost in the shuffle. Someone has to do what they do, but other parts of their job don't exist anymore, or someone else does it and management hasn't figured it out yet. Usually after a budget cycle or two, the oversight gets corrected and the nothing job is removed or folded into another. It just takes time. My aunt used to work for a company that was bought out and taken over by a German company. She once mentioned that her computer had been stuck in German language mode for months, so she wasn't able to work on anything. She had done literally no work for at least 3 months, and nobody at the company had noticed. When she retired, the company did not backfill the position. Lol, government jobs are like this. I spend around 56 hours a day watching YouTube, TikTok. I've learned to almost completely renovate my house with all my free time at work. There are serious dead moments and gets pretty boring. But I love it. I make $45K per year in the Midwest. In college I worked as a door guard at the computer science lab. My job was checking IDs for 5 minutes at the beginning of a class, and then watching movies or playing games on my laptop for the next 1.5 hours. State jobs. Source: I have one. I had a job where part of my duties were answering the phone, so I usually needed to be at my desk, but my remaining duties did not take up much of the day at all. I spent a lot of time just reading about obscure topics online. Find a specific cult and learn all about it. Work for the government. I did an internship like that as a mechanical engineering student and it's so boring. We had to do 2 weeks, but the chief engineer who was in charge of supervising us was always busy. The odd few days we'd get a few drawings and had to create 3D models from them in Inventor and run a quick finite element analysis, but that's it. In the span of 10 workdays, we got all of 3 workpieces per person. The boredom got to us so bad that we started modeling random office equipment, running finite element analysis on them and betting on the failure points. The winner of the bet usually bought the first round of beers after work. During the second day, we decided to do a full-scale parametric model of an office desk, with tasks for everyone, deadlines, the whole 9 yards, all out of boredom. The most annoying part is that the chief engineer got a raise for how well he did with the interns. Because the professor in charge checked our work, we had to log in without uni addresses, and wrote a glowing letter of recommendation to the chief eng for how well he did everything, even organizing a mock production project for us. Yes, the jobs exist. Some, like USICS 2014 said, are by design. You have to be there. But 95% of the time, you have nothing to do. A friend of mine worked as a receptionist in an office building. Her job was waiting until someone came into the building, then telling them where to find the office they were looking for, or, remotely, opening the gate when someone wanted to drive into the car park. She was often bored, but she couldn't leave her post if she had to go to the bathroom. She had to call someone to come man the desk so she could go pee. She finally left that job when the building management realized that they could manage all 3 buildings from one desk, so the staff from the other 2 buildings was let go. Others are more periodic. My job has some days that I can basically finish my work in an hour, then spend 7 hours on Reddit or Quora. Other days, I barely have time to get coffee, because I have meetings scheduled every 30 minutes with no breaks for 4 to 5 hours. Today is my first day back from vacation, and I was pretty busy this morning trying to catch up on what's been waiting for me to return. I've just finished one meeting and the next one doesn't start for another 15 minutes. So here I am. I have days like that. Sometimes my job is crazy demanding though, so I think I've earned some lazy time. Yeah, there are a lot of jobs where scheduling is primarily logistics, e.g. you need someone to let the mailman in or whatever, but the primary tasks are able to be done in a couple of hours, especially if you have some leeway in how you do your job. I have a job kind of like this at the moment. I am a respiratory therapist for a home medical equipment company, meaning it's my job to set people up with home CPAP machines, ventilators, oxygen equipment, etc., which sounds complicated, but it's really not at all once you know what you are doing. I worked in a pediatric hospital for 5 years before this, which makes this job look like an absolute cakewalk. But I got off subject there. Now my job is in an office setting where I take appointments for people to come in, and I teach them about their home respiratory equipment and how to use it. Sometimes it is really slow. For instance, today I have only 2 appointments scheduled. One at 8 a.m. and the other at 4 p.m. The rest of day I will be answering emails and making an occasional phone call. But most of my time will be spent browsing YouTube and doing other small, easy tasks that pop up throughout the day. I make over $30 per hour in the Midwest, which is pretty decent money out here. I made a lot more in California at the Children's Hospital, but that was also much more stressful of a job in a place with a much higher cost of living. Today, for me, is the definition of getting paid way too much to do very little. This isn't always the case though. Some days or weeks I am slammed with back-to-back appointments all day every day where I am talking and teaching people for literally 8 hours straight. So easy jobs exist, but they can be hit and miss. It sounds attractive to be paid to do almost nothing. But be careful what you wish for. It would be insanely boring and the days would drag like crazy.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epic Ericast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.